First card out, expand. How is everyone? I hope you're doing well. It's late Sunday night and I'm filming this. I've had back-to-back gigs today. So I had a tarot gig in the afternoon and I was reading at a party. It was an awesome October Day activity. I wore my witch costume. It was for a kid's birthday party, but I was there reading for the adults, and it was really, really fun. It was all perfect, and I wish I could have stayed longer, but I had to go to my other job across town. So then I went straight into work and did my shift there, and had one party of frantic women who were they were helpless and also overly controlling and terrified every step of the way. Oh, they were exhausting me to my core. And we got them through the mill. They made it. They survived everything. Apparently they had made a reservation like a while back, and they had called pretty much every day about something like ever since. They were like, yeah, we anticipated this was going to be a fun one. I was like, oh my God. And then I had to chill a couple of people that were just celebrating a birthday. And fortunately, they didn't need anything because my frantic table took up my whole life force. And then I had a really nice table come in at the end, another large party. And they were chill and easy. And they had a wonderful time. And everything was easy for them. The frantic people, they manifest a chaotic experience everywhere they go, I'm convinced. And I gave them a wonderful experience. It was actually flawless. We stuck the landing. And yet they were still just like on pins. By the end, like they were thrilled. They were coming down off the high of the cortisol. The event of being out. Oh, now that my opening monologue's over, let's get to the reading. Woo! Okay, so we're here looking at the energy oracle forecast for the week. We are taking a look ahead at what the spiritual energy is going to be like for our sort of like psychic weather. And the first card out, just like that frantic table, just threw itself into the mix, expand. So yeah, you might feel stretched in every direction. You might feel pulled into and just run thin, but keep going because the universe is expanding you. It is expanding your vessel. You know how we talk about building the vessel? This is those times where, you know, you're tired and you want a break, but opportunities are presenting. And so, you know, you got to strike while the iron's hot. So this is the growing pains of expansion, and it's a blessed problem to have. So I think that like our fortunes are really expanding because our consciousness has been expanding, and our awareness and our understanding has been expanding of our own inner selves and how that is expressed out in the world. And so we've become more aware of patterns. And so we've been breaking the negativity that usually takes so much of our bandwidth, right? And we've freed up space for now expansion. So we've been talking, you know, lately about this metaphor of 2023 being like a year of giving birth to the self again. Like we're being reborn, but like we're giving birth to our own rebirth. And every month has been like these contractions, these cycles of contractions this year. And you know what happens when you're in, you know, you see a woman in labor and in contractions is that like the contractions are like the muscles like tightening up and freaking out and spazzing. And then, you know, there's expansion and opening to allow the birth to come through. And every time it's like, you know, you get contracted, and then you dilate, or not you, I don't know, whoever. I've never done this. I've never given birth, but the vagina dilates or whatever. And after the contractions. And so that's kind of like how we've been this year. It's like expansion, contraction, pain, growing pains, feels like we're restricted, and then expansion again, and then growing pains, heavy, feels constricted, growing pains, expansion. So the more we walk through fears, the more we push through our self-perceived limits, and the more we put ourselves out of our comfort zone as far as like, you know, pushing ourselves beyond what we think that we're capable of, you know, push your confidence a little bit, you know, right on the edge of it, make yourself stretch beyond, you know, what you're comfortable doing, right? And learn new and break new territory. Ooh, and then like manifest earth. It's at the bottom of the deck. I'm gonna go ahead and take this because it kept looking at me and peering at me. But with expansion comes new manifestation and the fruition of this, you know, expanded new consciousness, this expanded new self. These expanding opportunities are leading to good things, right? We're finally starting to, you know, see the benefits of what we've been putting our hand to all this time. So the fruits of our labor are beginning to show. There's something valuable at hand. So start speaking gratitude and favor over all the blessings that are coming in. Yeah, I mean, this card, it's Earth. Like, you can connect to Earth, you can draw a lot of insight and wisdom from Earth. I believe that, like, when I go out and take like tree baths and forest baths, I think that like there's this telepathic wisdom that's whispered through the trees, and I feel like I benefit from that when I'm out there. Tree speak, right? And so yeah, you can read that this way, but for me, when this card comes up, it's usually something is coming into fruition, like into physicality, that I like an idea is coming into form, into fruition. There is a manifest card in this deck, but to me, this is also a manifest, like the manifestation is coming, or something is becoming physical. All right, what do we need to know for the week ahead? Ooh, stability. So I love that. Expanding stability. Grounding, you know, that's another thing that I kept wanting to say when the Earth card was coming up. It's just like grounding. So we're expanding, we're finding stability, deception. Interesting. So watch your subconscious inner dialogue that is constantly feeding you illusions, fears, lies, the self-saboteur that's always in the back of your mind, so the back of the skull here. Now, it could be that some form of deception might be illuminated soon. Maybe during the next lunar cycle. Maybe, you know, something that you have been in self-denial about is coming to the surface. And maybe this is things that have misled you, that have, up until now, maybe sabotaged your expansion and your stability and your ability to manifest, right? Maybe there's been like a false belief that has been in the way, but maybe that's coming to the forefront now so that you can see it and so that you can be aware of it. But yeah, you know, we can only grow as far as we're willing to be rigorously honest with ourselves and, you know, take a good look and look straight at our stuff. Okay, what else? Ooh, nightmares. So, you know, when I was talking about the deception card, I also saw the anger card at the bottom of the deck. And nightmares is coming up. And so there could be something, maybe something that you're not wanting to look at, something that you're, you know, not wanting to see because it would be a nightmare to face that, or you think it would be. Maybe there's something that is coming through in your dreams that's trying to tell you something that you're unaware of. Deception, nightmare. More clarity on that. Something about in your network. Nexus to me is, it has to do with like the network of the community or the people that you know, and like the resources. Maybe something about it is just like, it's so plaguing you. Like something about your social situation is weighing on your mind to the point where it's like you're deceiving, your negative thought patterns are starting to get blown out of proportion. And it's giving you like nightmares, like your worst nightmares are starting to play out in your mind. And it's possible that there's deception in the midst, but like for the most part, it's like this is probably like the illusions coming up in your head that are infecting what is otherwise the beginning of a beautiful new cycle. And so don't let like those old patterns sneak in. Don't give space for the opponent to come in and start messing with your consciousness, because it's as you elevate, like the opponent elevates with you. And so the opponent is the whole like goal of the opponent is to get in your head and mess with it, because the seed level of your consciousness, like the state of your consciousness is the seed level at which you create from. So if you are in a disrupted state of mind, in a nightmarish state of mind, then that's going to like infect the things that you're wanting to create. And it's going to infect these new relationship cycles and new friendships and new, business dealings and things like that. So just be aware that as soon as you break free from one pattern in your mind, it's like there will be another one. Like the universe loves to fill a void, right? And so that's why we have to be so proactive about filling our minds and choosing our thoughts and training our minds to choose good thoughts. Otherwise, if it goes into default setting, then there's defense mechanisms that take over to try to maintain your survival as a human being. And then there's the ego that plays with that. And then there's the opponent that uses the ego to like mess with you and try to prevent you from ultimately, fulfilling your potential. And the potential is not just the things that you do and accomplish and the legacy that you're building and leaving behind or whatever. It's the ability to live in a state of inner peace and certainty and harmony and ease and fulfillment. To be able to live in a state of inner peace and joy and love, right? So what is more opposite than that, than this? Plus anger, right? And so be careful about, like, if you have anger issues, or if you're feeling like there's anger coming up for you lately, or you feel yourself like raging, it's like, what's been swimming around in your mind, right? That's like almost like a toxic loop that's just like causing you nightmares, right? And getting in your head and just telling you all kinds of tells that might not even be true. Like, do you ever get into these like soap operas in your head with people? Like, you're like having these conversations and sometimes straight up fights or like big confrontations that like never happen. The conversations never happen. The scenario is only even hypothetical in your mind, and it just never even happened. And yet you're still like getting all worked up in the astral realm, creating thought forms of fights with people. So it's like, it's not just benign thoughts. It's like when we're getting all worked up in our minds and we're having these vivid visions, it's like we're feeding that and we're creating these thought forms in the astral realm. So again, don't let like these dress rehearsals for like confrontations that you're not even having, like don't let all that start playing out in your head, because then it just starts to build like hard feelings about stuff that's not didn't even happen, right? Based on, you know, what, like more, you know, just like snakes in your mind, snakes everywhere in this in these pictures. It's like, it's just yeah, something about the network, but it's more than just the network. It's like everything, the whole system, the infrastructure, that it's all like, it's like the seed level of consciousness that we create from. It's like when we're in that state of mind, or, you know, in this aggravated place, it's like it bleeds out into everything that we create and everything that we are thinking and saying, and the energy that we have and the people that we're around. You know, it bleeds into everything. Let's get one more card clarifying that. Nightmares and deception. Otherwise, it's like expanding, you know, creating, manifesting things coming into fruition, finding stability, and protect. Oh my gosh, this was actually on the bottom of the deck. You could probably go back and look, and you could see it while I was talking. But protect. So this is like, protect your mindset, protect your consciousness, but also, I mean, I'm going to have to pull another card because this opens up more questions. It's like, is there something that we need to protect right now? Like, is there some kind of deceptive influence in the midst? Because if you go back and watch our weekend reading, there was something about how we had been influenced and we needed to overcome that influence now that we're seeing through it. And so one of the other cards was the fact that it was talking about how it was warning empaths that they are prey for people who, you know, want to get their way, or people who tend to be manipulative and controlling. It's like they're attracted to empaths because empaths feel other people's feelings so much, they feel emotionally responsible for them. Then they fall into codependent relationship cycles and enmeshment and all that. So it's like protecting yourself, protecting your consciousness, protecting your boundaries, protecting your new soul, right? Just got out of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. So the enemy, the opponent, is like, ooh, a fresh, you know, delicious energy I want to steal. Ooh, I'm going to get in there and fuck him up. A bunch of snakes on the brain, right? So watch out. Maintain that consciousness. Maintain that certainty. Don't short circuit. Just be mindful and be wise, right? And if you feel that someone is being dishonest with you, or they have ulterior motives, or that they're trying to manipulate you, then maybe trust that gut instinct and intuition and do what you need to set a boundary or manage that, you know, the way that you need to protect yourself from that influence. First of all, don't take the advice or whatever it is that this person or people or group or whatever situation might be trying to influence you. It could be long-held patterns. Like, for instance, people with prominent Libra placements in their chart, we have a really hard time at Cancer also, because those people tend to be super empathic, maybe even Pisces. We have a tendency to overextend ourselves or be like kind of lose ourselves in relationships because we're always trying to take care of other people, like whether it be our family, friends, you know, lovers, like everyone around these people is always attracted to those people because they're like the people that are like, oh, well, I can be happy either way. Let's just go to this place. You know, it's like, these are the people who are so empathic that they want to maintain the status quo. And so they always just like put themselves aside in the spirit of unity. But eventually it's like you're just disappearing into these relationships. And so it's about like protecting your consciousness, right? And your identity, and putting boundaries around yourself if you're empathic. Toxic. This card's been coming up so much. Everyone is getting rid of toxic cycles, toxic influences in their life. It is now time to purge this. Eclipse season is coming, y'all. Bat down the hatches, like turn on the tornado warning that like blasts the siren into the city. Like, watch out. Things that are not good for people are wanting to be taken away, to be moved out of their life. Explore the endings and cycles. Amazing. So exploring like new beginnings, new horizons, endings of cycles are happening, and endings of toxicity, endings of nightmares, endings of, being enmeshed in, codependent relationship patterns, like these things don't have to play out in big outer dramas. This can be major revelatory shifts within your consciousness that allow you to just stop caring about things the same way you used to, or not playing out the same patterns again and again and again. You just shift the way that you see things and think about them, right? There could be big things changing on the outside, but only time will tell about that. Should we pull one more? Explore. Okay, this is so funny. Release and embrace. So we're releasing all of the garbage, all that is ready to be removed and taken away. We are embracing the new beginnings, this higher self, this more beautiful version of our lives that's wanting to come in. And so we're embracing that self that can manage to live this life. And we're exploring new horizons and new opportunities and more options. We're exploring our options, right? And we're releasing, toxic thinking, toxic emotional cycles, toxic thought patterns, toxic relationship dynamics, toxic behaviors, toxic habits, and addictions. A lot of people recently have been talking about, giving up substances and cutting back things and just taking healthier measures, which is great. It's like when you feel like you want to do something like that and it's inspiring to you, it can be really like, it can give you a lot of inspiration and energy and vigor to do that kind of thing and make you feel really good. If not, it could be, something more in the mental landscape or emotional landscape. It doesn't always have to be kicking out something literal or someone literal or whatever. All right, you guys, I am tired and I'm hungry and I am burnt to a crisp. So I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to do it all again tomorrow. Ciao.